The World Healing Tour movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world. Hello. Welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joy-filled life. I'm also the author of the book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because the grass is greenest where you are when you say so. When you choose to live in a place of no comparison, no competition, and no scarcity. When you live in your own love and light and share your unique gifts with the world, because we're all unique and we all came here to make a difference and make this world even better. And that's why it's called World Healing Tour, because when you heal yourself, you can truly impact the world in a positive way and create change for all. And that's what we are committed here at the World Healing Tour. Each week, I bring amazing guests into the studio to pour into you and to show you more of what they do in the world and how they're impacting the world in a positive way. Couldn't be more excited about my guest today, Ian Minnerly. He's an incredible man. He's been a photographer for over 13 years, very accomplished photographer. At age 14 years old, he went to college to Florida Atlantic University to study science and also to bring out his creativity. Ian is bringing so much to the world. He brings his photography and his pictures to the world to inspire you. And you'll see some of his pictures today while we speak as well. Ian is also very passionate about music. He says that music has completely transformed his life, and he's been able to change his thoughts and his feelings and his creativity through music. I'm so excited to share Ian with you today because he has impacted my life in such an amazing way, and it's such an honor not just to have him here on the show, but also to be his friend. Ian Minnerly, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast.
Thank you, Noah. Honored to be here. I was very honored also to be your photographer for your World Healing Tour last week. That was just unbelievably amazing, room full of just such positive, like-minded individuals, and I'm looking forward to that for next year.
Yeah, Ian, and I just want to say the World Healing Tour event was amazing, and you were a big part of it, of making it amazing, and you captured so many moments. Like, you know how to capture like these little moments where somebody's really smiling or clapping their hands or raising their hands up in the air. And that really makes a difference, to capture the moments. It's a special gift to be able to capture moments. And that's one of the things that I love the most about your photography. And I know today we're going to be talking about how music, because you're very connected to music and everything is connected to each other, right?
Absolutely.
And I love how you're so inspired by your music to help you become the man that you are. I mean, it's all kind of bringing it together. So let's start with the fact that when did you realize that music was so important to you? What's the turning point? Where did that come from?
Well, I've always liked music. I grew up listening to Beatles, Pink Floyd, Enya, piano music, things like that. But it wasn't really, honestly, until the last 4 years of my life that I really started learning how to play piano. My mom encouraged all of my brother and sisters to play music. I never thought I was creative enough to play. So the only instruments I could play as a kid growing up were drums, just because it was, oh, look, I can annoy everybody in the house by playing them, as a younger of 4 siblings. But it wasn't until basically 2020-ish that I really connected with the piano. And all I did was hit one note on the piano, and I had a visual form in my mind of a bright point of light. And I hit another note on the piano, not knowing what notes I'm hitting or anything, and I saw another bright point of light. And I became obsessed with this idea of, oh, well, you can build music off of visuals in your mind by just, and this was before I knew any music theory or any notes in the piano or how they correlated together. And I just became obsessed with this concept of 2 points of light, like yin and yang, just kind of rotating around each other and going. And from there is how I kind of slowly refined it and, after much patience, learned like how to do scales and chords and, the whole theory behind it. And just every step, every onion layer that I peeled back, I just felt like there was a click in my brain as far as like, oh, this just makes sense. Oh, wait, this can be applied here. And the more I learned about music, the more I realized that I had desire to expand my knowledge on cooking, on crafts, on art, on empathy, on being patient with people. And it just little by little, it just somehow music became this thing where the more I learned and focused on it, the more control I had over just everything in my brain, basically. So that became a very big obsession, and thankfully, I have a very patient wife who doesn't mind me practicing loud music instruments until the wee hours of night.
Mhm. That is special, and I know you and your wife have such an amazing relationship, and that's special in its own.
Oh, absolutely. I would not be able to do what I do if it wasn't for the support of people like her, family, friends, colleagues like you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're so humble, Ian, because you are just so talented. I mean, you went to college when you were 14 years old.
Yeah, I mean, people say that was something special, but honestly, I was homeschooled most of my life. And then when I was 14, my mom was like, "We're going to sign you up for FAU. You're going to go to school now." And I'm like, okay, I had no clue what I was doing. And I had a reverse experience in college where usually most people in college, they start off goofing off. And then when they get to their senior years, they start,
Being
getting better.
serious, yeah.
For me, I was so strict in the beginning of the years. I was studying all the time. Never, but then the more I went through school, I was like, honestly, I thought it was all kind of pointless. I knew early on that it's just like I didn't want to be behind a desk sitting there typing up code. My degree was in computer science, so it was a lot of programming. But I would say toward the end of the years of my college life, I was like, okay, I just want to get out of here. This isn't what I want to do. This is just not very. I wasn't very fond of the whole 9 to 5 kind of structure that school fought. But that led to one career, which then led to where I am today. So very thankful for that experience.
It's amazing, and you've really built yourself. You have incredible people around you. You have a whole production company, right? Right now.
Yep. So Minnerly Media, that's my photography business. We do all things photography and videography. My favorite areas for passion purposes will always be landscapes, nature, capturing the art side of photography, as well as people's pets, because, pets bring the most joy to people in life, and getting to capture those adorable four-legged animals is just even, combine two passions together. But for business wise, we do all things from like real estate, events, weddings, products, anything, literally anything you point a camera at, we're behind. And I'll tell you like some of our biggest accomplishments. Getting to do your World Healing Tour. We've been behind TEDx conferences. We've worked with the Better Business Bureau. We've worked with a lot of big organizations. And I will say, when I first started this business, I never thought in a million years that this is where I'd be and what I'd be doing.
Yeah, it's amazing because you're just following your passion. You're following your music, right?
Mhm.
And I want to go back just a little bit to your mom
Okay.
because I know she was a huge part of your life.
Absolutely.
And can we talk a little bit about how she helped you in your life to become the man you are today?
Yeah, so she was a single mom. Father never any positivity from him. So my mom pretty much raised 4 kids, put 4 kids through college by herself, and not only was able to put 4 kids through college, but also encourage each and every one of us to follow whatever creative outlet we wanted. My sisters, if you think I'm talented, my sisters, they're brilliant when it comes to cooking, crafts, art, anything you put in their hands, they can turn into something beautiful. My brother the same way, but he also is very analytical, and he's a PhD professor teaching biology. And if it wasn't for him, I actually would have never met my wife because they were in the same program together. But I'll tell you, like my mom, she basically didn't believe in no as an answer when it comes to like what you're capable of. So if one day I wanted to try painting, she would find a way to make sure that I could try that. If it was music, if it was just anything outdoors, being in nature, anything like that, she just felt like the creative side of your persona is where you should be spending most of your time. And
I love that. So your mom really, she took so much, she poured so much into you.
oh,
And I
100%.
love that you were homeschooled because she let you have that creativity, that you weren't in a structured environment
Mhm.
growing up.
Yeah, very. A lot of it was actually helping her and her with her business actually growing up. So I remember early on going from studying at home to working at her cafe, cooking and stuff like that. So it was a lot of free form lifestyle, I would say. Yeah, definitely not a lot of rigid structure, which I personally can't picture life without having grown up the way I did.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's
Mhm.
really beautiful. And the fact that, all the kids have, really become who they're supposed to be is really special.
Yep, yep.
And that you're all close and tight too.
That is the one value that I am very thankful she made sure all of us knew, was that friends come and go, family stays forever, and family is your most important thing you can have in life. So I don't care if all of us were kids and we were fighting with each other on just superficial stuff, as kids often do. But I will say we are closer than ever. My sisters live in Alaska. My brother lives down the street from me here. But we don't let distance keep us apart. We're always supporting each other.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And so, as far as the music and the photography, how do you tie them together? How has music helped you with your photography?
So I like to go on a lot of deep dives and study a lot, especially when it comes to the human consciousness and, like just the whole, what is consciousness? Why are we here? So I kind of started analyzing different aspects of the human mind. And just through my own interpretation, like again, everything I'm saying is just pure my experience. Everybody could have a different experience and stuff. But you have your left side and right side of your brain. One side is for empathy, one side is for analytical. And I believe that the empathy side of your brain is basically your reason for living, whether that be, is with the connections that you make with with family, with your friends, with anything like that. And anything that requires art or creativity taps into that empathic energy. So for me, I started noticing that with piano, if I would start because 4 years ago, I could barely play 2, 3 fingers on the piano, and I was not able to do anything. But little by little, the more I structured that, the more I started realizing that there's this energy and patterns that you can see around you in life. I'm not talking about with your own eyes, but more like you can sense this kind of energy around you. And I noticed that it was actually with cooking that I made the connection with music, because when I'm playing music, I'm like, oh, this song is very bright. This song is very dark. This song is this. And I'm starting correlating colors and feelings into music. And then that just clicked with something my sister said when it came to cooking. Oh, well, that chili's too dark. Add some brightness to the chili. Or you can cook with colors, and you can actually use that kind of concept for cooking. And I was like, wait a minute, same concept for piano as I can with cooking. And then I somehow noticed that bridge, as soon as I made that connection, it's like, what else can you cross pollinate basically with that. So basically, the more I guess another analogy would be okay, so piano led me to want to play guitar. I have never played guitar. That 2 years in, 3 years in, I can still barely play a song. It's a lot of technique that I'm still learning. But then the more I learned on guitar, the more I would take that to piano. And then I would be like, oh, so if I learned a melody on piano, I would learn it on guitar. Then suddenly that would open up a whole new way of playing guitar. Then learning that on guitar, I would go back to piano and realize, oh, wait, now I have a different perspective. Same thing when it comes to photography and music. It's like a muscle in your brain. The more you stretch it doing one thing, well, just because you stretched it for piano doesn't mean that it's not going to apply for other aspects of your life. So to me, the more you exercise the empathic centers of your brain, the more you're going to benefit from that in all areas of your life.
So when you talk about the empathetic part of your brain, can you explain that a little more to people that may not really understand
so
what that means?
basically, think about the person that you care about the most, that warm feeling that you get when you think about a person you love, or
compassion.
The compassion, yeah. When you go to the beach and you look at a sunrise coming up and you get that content feeling, that feeling, that's energy that you're able to control and use. And to me, again, I might not be for any psychologists out there, I might not be using the most technical terms, but to me, that's what I call the empathic center of the brain. Anything that uses energy within your soul that can benefit others and warm others and strengthen connections and stuff.
So it's rooted in love.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, love, creativity, warmth, any way you can describe it.
So it's kind of like high vibration.
Yes.
Like high vibrational feelings, high vibrational words, positivity, like all that kind of
Absolutely.
stuff.
Very high vibrational.
Like high frequency kind of. Yeah.
Well said. Yes. So the more, I guess, putting it in the sense of higher frequency, the more you focus on one, the more of a higher state you're being in, and then that leaves you in that higher state. So when you're doing other things, you're tapping into that same energy to then carry on with other things in your life. So
so basically, connecting to the piano, you had to be in that side of your brain where you were in that lit up space where it's just anything's possible. Like there were no limits, there was no fear there was no darkness there was just that place of light. You were in that place of light, of joy, and you were just connecting to the music through that.
Yep. And I'll tell you, oftentimes when I play piano, I don't actually play with my eyes open. Now I've actually gotten to the point with piano where I can just close my eyes and it's just a scene will unfold. So here's how I correlate piano to photography. So if I am playing early on, I started learning, I'm like, wait, I'm not just hitting notes. I'm like, if I visualize fish swimming underwater, now I can describe the fish in the movements with the notes and the piano. I can describe different scenes and different settings, taking memories, scenes, and like that, and then translating that into patterns on the piano. So that in turn has also given me a more keen ability to like see movement and energy in real life. So like if I'm at the beach, now I can see like, oh wow, look at this long stream of energy this wave makes as it's crashing. And then that flows into two people walking over here, which then that flows into this. And it kind of like gave me this ability to kind of like see without really seeing energy. Like, you know, kind of like understanding like movement and patterns and designs and things around. And all of that kind of just clicked and correlated together.
I don't know, when you're talking, it almost feels to me like you're connecting energy to energy to energy to energy. Like you're just kind of like connecting everything together into this like
Yeah,
that almost seems like you can see energy. Like you literally are working with energy every day.
well, you're asking, so when I photograph and I capture all these things, like, yes, there is the technical side of photography where, you know, you want to make sure you capture the right
Yeah.
settings, but like that movement, that energy is also where it's like someone's laughing. Okay, I can see, you know, you can kind of just see like this buildup of energy around people and things like that. So it's like an oil painting. You want to capture the scene in that exact moment so you can see the brush strokes moving in this one way. And more or less, you know, I've learned to that there is that field of energy around us, whether you're using it for cooking, whether you're using it for piano or for, you know, talking at events or things like that. That energy is, I guess if you tie it more to the spiritual side of like the super unconscious or like, you know, where there's like that realm where people say, I feel like there is that mystical realm around all of us that we can tap into that can then fuel us with more empathy, more love, more creativity, more positive energy that we can use in whatever aspect we want to in life. So you don't have to be a pianist to use this kind of energy. You could be a gardener working in your yard. You could be a painter, a reader, this, that, anything in life that requires you just to be happy. You can tap into that energy and use it to better yourself and better people around you.
And it's like you create your own reality.
Yes.
So the reality of the 3D is not really where you work at.
No,
it's
that's
more of a higher reality that you create, that you're able to see things on another level. You know what I mean? You're able to see things. It's almost like, and I think a lot of it is because you are living your soul mission. You know what I mean? So you're so connected to your soul purpose that you're able to just put it all together. I mean, because to be able to sit there and teach yourself how to play piano, since 2020, you said you started?
about 20-ish, late 20.
That's unbelievable. And you play like, I mean, we could put some of the
Sure.
music that you play, and it's just really incredible that you're self-taught yourself how to play it because you just believed it and you connected to that light and that energy and just made this beautiful music.
Yeah, and talk about making your own reality. I mean, this literally, when I close my eyes on piano, I feel like I am in a world where anything is possible. And especially recently, like literally as of like a week ago, I got to this point where it's like I can visualize anything I want and just be able to hit any key anywhere I want and have a scene unfold. But while we're talking, I can play a little sample and keep in mind that this is improv music, so there is going to be like some mistakes, and you know, this is like kind of just like recording. It's not like an official album or anything, but can have us just play in the back if you want.
Yeah.
We can keep talking.
Yeah, we could keep talking and it could just play in the background. I mean, that's incredible in itself. So the piano has helped you also with your thoughts, right? And
Yes.
in your creativity and taking it. How can people out there that are listening to us today, how can they use music to help them be more calm, to help them be more happy, more joyful in their life? How can they connect to those higher frequencies? Can anybody do that?
Anybody can. I feel like, you know, I have some people in my networking groups. Actually, you're part of IPP. And I have a couple of people that's like, oh, what you do is so unique. And it's like, well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment, but anybody has this inside. I'm living proof that if I can do this, it means you can do it. It means anybody can. Maybe you won't be able to play piano the same way I can because that's my passion and I'm seeing it in the way that I want to. But we are all people. We are all made the same. And every single one of us has that ability to find what truly connects with them inside, basically. So how I take piano, I just made this connection the other day with, well, why do some melodies when I'm playing sound very fluidic and just very peaceful and kind of vibe, but then some melodies seem very like fast paced and twirl and they get very tight and like, and then I was realizing, oh, as I'm just scanning my thoughts, just letting it go, the tighter and more harsh the melody, the more I was like, wait, there's a blocked memory. And I was able to use piano to kind of scan my memories to see where everything was peaceful, where there's tension and stuff like that. And we are all creatures of energy and sound. So especially on an acoustic instrument, I believe the way that music heals you is, well, we all vibrate at a certain frequency. And if you are angry, you're not vibrating at your optimal frequency. But piano music literally bathes you in sound waves that I think can help calibrate your frequency by vibrating at a more pure frequency and kind of like jumpstart you a little bit, I guess, or help recalibrate you and align you to a more centered position and stuff. Especially if you can control it, where you can then use it to like, have you ever been to sound healing therapies, sessions, but you had one at your World Healing Tour. So yeah, I think sound waves can, the energy from a sound wave can alter your mind a little bit just by like gently massaging it with proper sound, basically, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, just sitting here with you and listening to the music, it's like it brings that calmness and that centerness more into my mind, just listening to it.
Trust me, yeah, I could listen to piano music all day. Actually, I do when I work and edit photos and stuff.
Yeah, so music has a huge impact on us. So when you hear today the rap music with all those like really, inappropriate words, as you can say, I don't think that's really doing any kind of service to our young generation.
So it's funny you should bring that up because and again, don't quote me on the exact, but music used to be recorded at A440. That's concert tune, like for a piano, you tune at A440 hertz. So there's a certain frequency that a piano is supposed to be tuned at, and certain audio standards for the music industry used to be at that. And then they changed over the years to, I forget the exact one, but it was a slightly lower vibrational state than music used to. So when you take the modern day music, which is full of like anger and, things like that, that is a medium that you're using to connect to get other people's energy into you. So like, yes, I think that music can be detrimental too if used, in a negative way. So most music you listen to, you're hearing the person's soul. So, generally people play music for passion, so which is why I think a lot of music heals people. But yeah, I think you could also have some negativity in that.
I like how you put that, because I feel like this music, when I listen to it, I feel like it's very calming and healing, where the music, the other kind of like, rap kind of, negative words kind of music that you wouldn't want your kids to listen to. I feel like it's kind of, like you said, like it steals energy, but it brings you into their darkness instead of bringing you into your peace and light.
Well, I don't think personally the words have anything to do with it, because I think it's more of the feeling that the person singing is putting toward it. So like
the vibration.
Yeah. So my all-time favorite artist is Pink Floyd's lead singer David Gilmour, which I'm very happy I'm seeing him next week in New York City.
That's awesome.
He is my biggest inspiration for playing music, because Pink Floyd has lived so large in my life that one day I was just watching one of their live performances and I was like, these are just four guys. They're just four people. That's all they are. Four people that decide to get together and make this. Yet in my mind, they're like deities, just this huge presence and stuff. So I started noticing like David Gilmour, when he plays, you see it in his eyes, and like he takes that guitar and plugs it into his heart, and he will wash you with just whatever positivity that or memories or emotions that he's playing with. And that concept is how I was able to take that and put it to piano, because I'm like, oh, well, you can just plug it in and you have inside you everything that you want to play, at least from my perspective. So yeah, I think the true intention of music matters more about the person who's playing it. Now, I could be wrong, but again, that's just my perspective. Because I've listened to music that has cursing and things in it, but the messages and the energy in it is still pure, that you're like, wow, that feels really motivational. So it's like the words themselves don't. I think it's just, again, the energy that people put into it.
Yeah, energy is important, but some of those words, oh my God, like they're just so inappropriate.
Well, they're also, with anything, you have a bell curve when it comes to people, why they play. Some people play for passion, some people play for money. People who play for money then will be like, oh, well, what's culturally acceptable, and what will sell more albums, and what will this, and then the shock factor of it, and also that is where you get that. And I feel like the mainstream music industry is not about passion, it's about money and what is profitable. So I think that's where also some of that comes into play.
Yeah, definitely. I think that does have an impact. So when did you realize you wanted to go into photography? Where did that come in? Did music have something to do with the photography?
No, actually, photography came first. Photography
Okay.
was the first true creative outlet where I actually felt like I was decent at something, because I was the younger of four siblings, so I always felt overshadowed by my brother and sisters when it came to that, because I was very high energy and not very patient as a kid, and they would be, much more calm and stuff. So I always felt like I never had patience for that. And I would say about 13 years ago, I started a job that required me to travel. I did like basically 150,000 air miles a year for 10, 11 years with this job. And they gave me a camera to photograph our products on site. Well, I would fly all the way to Alaska, work for 5 minutes fixing this product, and then I'll be like, well, I have 3 days here before I have to go back home. So I would take that camera and then just more or less just go around, take pictures to show my family, like, hey, look where I was today. And my mom was the one who actually was like, no, you shouldn't take that picture and center it like that, because then, you want to leave it where it's in the thirds of the frame or this. And she slowly started teaching me about composition. And little by little, she was the one who actually kind of got me to see that, fall in love with photography. And so, yeah, my mom was a major, major influence into me, like getting into photography, which I feel like I get to honor her energy running my own company, because she just for viewers who don't know, she passed away from cancer 3-4 years ago. So that was insanely difficult to go through, but also, it's life, unfortunately. But yeah, she was a major, major factor for everything I'm doing today. She ran her own food business. That encouraged me to run my own business. She encouraged me with photography. She encouraged me with music. She encouraged me with everything, basically.
Yeah, I'm sure she's watching over you and she's so proud of
I
what you're
mean,
doing right now.
somebody's watching over me,
Yeah.
because I can't believe all the luck I've had with my business and everything. So, and just everything in life. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and you're such a light. You really are. I mean, anybody who knows you knows that when you walk into a room, you bring in the positive energy. You always come. I don't know what goes on in your life or what you're going through, but you always choose to look at the bright side of things. So you're very in control of your thoughts and your mind, and I definitely want to talk about that and how can some people that don't have control over their minds, don't feel like they have control over their thoughts, how can they learn from you to be more like in that place of like just empathy and love and connection?
so it's more or less, and again, this is the over years of just kind of analyzing, but your brain is a muscle. It might not be a muscle that you go to the gym and exercise, but it's a muscle that still needs to be exercised. So the more you can exercise it, the more abilities you will have that will seem like, if I could take a snapshot of my life 5 years ago and put it into the body today, I'd be like, oh, you have superpowers for what you can do with your brain, because like I was never able to do that before. But I would say finding that thing that clicks with you in your life. I can't tell you what that is. Everybody's different. Some people, it could be volunteering at an animal shelter. That is that. Some people, it could be crocheting, knitting, drawing, cooking. Everybody has something in life that you're passionate about. If you don't know what that is, then I encourage you to find it, because there is something out there for everybody. And I feel like once you get that scent of like, you'll know what it is when you talk about it. It's a thread that when you start pulling, you'll just want to keep pulling and pulling and see how far it goes. But it hasn't been easy. I will say, like, losing my mom definitely has, punched a hole inside of me that I never would have ever felt. But that did also give me the ability to like realize how much deeper your empathy can go, and how much deeper, like for as much loss as I felt the equal reaction, the opposite reaction of it, of being able to love deeper and connect deeper with people and stuff. But I would just say it's a matter of just, again, finding something that you can take that energy and ground yourself with, basically. So yeah, piano, again, is my version of that.
Did you find the piano after your mom's passing?
No, before, but I would say it was like August-ish of 2020 that I started playing right when I moved into my new house. And it was like that year my mom got diagnosed with cancer. So it was like literally my piano was my escape during that year from when she got diagnosed to the time she passed away. So that was my escape from reality, like just going on the piano and stuff. So yeah, it was like during that time that I really, and that is why I have even more of an obsession with it now, because it also, I feel like that's where I can send energy out to my mother wherever she may be.
That's beautiful. And did you know that Ben over here is also a musician?
No, I did not. Ben, what do you
Yeah.
play?
Yeah.
I've been playing drums for almost 23 years.
That is what I started on. I love drums.
I know. When you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been playing for a long time, but, drumming has also saved my life in many different ways. I mean,
Funny, drumming is actually what got me into piano. Because it just made me, one day I was like, wait a minute, a piano is a drum set with 88 things you can hit. And then as soon as I made that connection, I was like, oh, this is cool.
that's exactly it. Have you ever gotten a chance to play a marimba or a xylophone or a vibraphone?
Not those specifically, but I have got to play a lot of those like steel drums and those ones,
Okay.
yeah, where it's like, the hand pan ones,
Yeah. I think that, since you are a pianist and you have that drumming percussion, definitely take a look into a marimba or a vibraphone. I think you would completely destroy it. Just amazing. Like
before I leave here today, I'm writing those names down,
Yeah,
because I definitely would love to.
because there's basic, you could have two mallets side by side, or you can have four mallets, so two on each arm, and then you can make chords. You can open and close. There's different types of grips and stuff like that. So very cool, though. I'm sitting here, and a lot of the things that you are saying is resonating with me. Just
All right, just everybody is a witness that when I am looking to buy a new instrument, and my very patient wife, who has went through a lot of instruments with me, when I add another one, it's Ben's fault.
It is my fault. I will say it's my fault, but I will say they are pretty expensive. so yeah, your wife might. You might, yeah. Anyways.
Cece, if you're listening to this, I'm at Podcast Junkies in
no.
Boca.
Oh no! Cece, I don't work here anymore.
Well, I only say that because piano. She was when we first moved to my house, I didn't have any piano or anything like that, so she was like, all right, we can budget it in to get a keyboard from Guitar Center. And then not even a year later, that led to an acoustic piano, which then led now to 6 guitars, a djembe, a didgeridoo, 2 drum sets, a auto harp, dulcimer, a cello, and a couple other instruments that I have in my house.
That's amazing.
And that's not enough still. I need like every type of instrument, so I'm adding that one to the list.
Yeah, this is. I pulled up a quick picture, but there.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of fun. I mean, like here you can see that they have 4 mallets in each hand, but it's basically a giant piano, but you use drumsticks.
I like that. Well,
or mallets.
The one that I really want to get is a hammered dulcimer, which
Okay.
kind of looks a little like
Yeah,
that.
that's similar.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you'll have fun with those. They're a lot of fun.
That's cool. Okay. We got to jam sometime though.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm gonna ask Ian to jam with me one of these days, because I'm in a couple bands and we are always looking for pianists. So
okay.
We play like jazz, funk, rock, classic rock, a little reggae. So kind of give you some challenges, I guess,
Okay, yeah. I will say a lot of my style, as you hear, is classical, kind of just like ambient vibe music.
Yeah.
But I have been getting into I do a lot with like blues and things like that, which Pink Floyd being one of my favorite bands is heavy on the blues.
Well, I was gonna say you like Pink Floyd, so I know that you would fit right in with our kind of crew, and you could definitely It's also, so one thing is to play music, but also to play with others. I'm sure it adds a whole nother, because now you're all riding that same wave.
Yep.
On different points of the wave, but you're on that same wave together. And
Unfortunately, I don't ever have the time or ability to play with people very often. But the very few times that I do, it is very magical being able to connect with someone else using instruments.
it's unbelievable. So, well, Ian, we'll definitely have to talk, and I'll definitely get you in there, because it takes, I think, playing with other people takes musicianship to a whole nother level.
Well, it's like cooking. You can cook by yourself, but when you're in a kitchen full of other chefs and things like that, it becomes a whole new
Collaborate,
challenge.
collaboration, yeah, exactly. Because then you wouldn't maybe think that some spices would go together in the sense of how someone else might prepare it, and then boom, you have like an amazing
Learn a
dish.
different style. One of my stories I've always liked hearing was Pink Floyd in the 70s when they were recording Dark Side of the Moon. They were recording that at Abbey Road Studio, and they were recording there at the same time the Beatles were recording, and they actually jammed together behind the scenes. And I swear it was like the Beatles' music became trippier after getting to collaborate with Pink Floyd for a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. I love that story. I didn't actually know that. That's pretty cool. But exactly. I think it's helped me. Yeah, I was with one band for a good while, and then I started venturing out and jamming with another band, and all my bandmates from my first band are like, Ben, what did you do? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're playing so much, like you're like the amount of creativity that you're putting in is so much different. I'm like, oh, well, I've been just playing. I think it also is practice. Just constantly practicing also helps, but
Well, I will tell you almost every night I can, which is not every night, but I will make a point at least 3-4 times a week minimum, sitting in front of that piano, doing scales up and down, chords up and down, and just learning, because you can't play unless if you don't build that muscle memory and stuff. And yeah, I feel like that's where the challenge really comes in. It's like not knowing what to play. It's just building the technique so that way when you're ready to play, it's all muscle memory,
Exactly. And then you can go back to it, and then you can, spice it up a little bit. And no, I love it, Ian. I love this whole conversation. So I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Every musician out there is probably loving it as well. So.
Well, glad everybody's enjoying this because I'm a very visual person, and I will tell you, like, ever since I made this connection with the piano, even listening to music I've listened to my whole life, I actually visualize it differently now. So like I can visualize like the sound waves in like structures almost. So like a guitar can be a spiral coming down, whereas the drums can be like, a different pattern, and they all make this big like fractally kind of pattern, which then is really interesting because if you take a giant speaker that emits frequencies and put sand on top of that speaker, and if you change the speaker from different frequencies, the sand will actually change designs into different patterns and stuff like that. So they're
like water.
Yeah, well, you do it on water or any surface that sound can resonate off of. You can create shapes with it. And something that I've been very obsessed with was seeing what music notes over water look like, and they look like snowflakes, crystalline fractal structures. So when I made the correlation that I'm visualizing shapes and patterns and designs while music itself has this perfect design to it, I'm wondering, can I actually hear the shape? And that's what I'm trying to play or what? But any music now I listen to, all I can hear is just a whole new level of shapes that are hidden behind what as everybody in my family knows, when I like something, I like it a lot. So I listen to a lot of the same music again and again and again. But
That's good. So as far as music goes, right? How can music help us with the negativity of the world? There's so many negative people. There's so many negative things that come our way on a daily basis, right? Mm-hmm. How does that help you? The music, the sound, the mind, training your mind to see things in a different way. How has that helped you to stay calm when the storms do come in?
Well, minus the very nice massage that this does for your brain, where it's like it keeps it at a state of content and calm. I will say, like, hasn't made me realize anything, but it's given me the surface to put my thoughts on as a medium, basically, so that like emotions on the table, so that way instead of like when you're driving and somebody slams on their brakes and you're like, get out of my way or whatever, it just gives me the ability to like take the backseat driver in my life. So where it's like, instead of reacting to something, it'll be, well, this all happens in my head in a split second. It would be like, well, you could explode for 1 second, and then you'll get that temporary satisfaction of, wow, I let some energy out. But then 2 seconds later, you're going to be like, well, that didn't accomplish anything. And, give me the ability to kind of like have foresight, I guess, in the way that it's like, don't react to situations, don't react to things, and think about it first. And hey, after you think about it, and if you want to get angry, then at least you made a calculation to be angry. But also, I feel like in this day and age, everybody is very polarized, and things. And something that I realized over the years was, well, if everybody treated each other the way that they wanted to be treated, this world would be a perfect place, because nobody would be angry toward each other, because everybody would be that way. And it just kind of like little by little made me realize, and this is again over years of just kind of like making these analyzations, I guess, that, well, there's no real negativity in the world, in the sense of, if somebody's being a total jerk to you, or they're driving and they're being this, you don't know anything about that person as to why they are acting that way that they are. A normal, sane person does not yell at somebody. A normal person does not explode the way they do. So I started looking at it in the sense of, oh, that person has something, feeling more compassion for that person, because they're living in a situation where they feel like they have to act that way toward others. And so it just, I feel like it gives me ability to focus on something else, like, where I can take my attention, put it onto the music, and then logically look at something, or take the emotional side of my brain and have that be distracted by music, while I can then logically look at something, because like right now with this playing, like I'll never even get my heart rate up past this right here.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, and it's about learning to control our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think music helps us with controlling our emotions?
I think it is a very key, important factor to being able to do that. It is not the only factor that can help you make control your emotions. I think everybody finds a different thing that can help them. Meditation, coloring. I mean, you have OCD people that do certain rituals, to calm themselves down when they get upset. So, but I think it's the most universal one that can span so many different personality types and things like that. Whereas like other things, oh well, I'm not a hippie from Colorado, so I don't meditate, or, people that have these, misconceptions and stuff. So I think music is a middle ground that connects every type of culture, every type of personality, because go back to the farthest reaches of history and music instruments were there. Even if they were just sticks that they would hit, or like, string instruments have been around for God knows how long. And so I feel like it's something that's been in society for such a very long time that it's not just a entertainment aspect.
I just want to go home and go on the keyboard like my husband has, and see if I hit different things, if they'll get me to like see the light right there,
Give
and
it
to
a try.
connect it. And then will I go into the kitchen and start cooking, and see all these colors. I mean, I love how connected in your life everything is to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really amazing, because I think a lot of it is that we don't try new things.
People are afraid to try new stuff.
We don't try it, so we're kind of like in this comfort zone where we're not willing to explore other things. And there's other things, just like hitting a keyboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or going and trying a different color on, or just putting on a different color shirt, or different something. Tapping into your creativity seems like that's a key element into our own happiness and joy.
It definitely is, because it's getting to know yourself better. And I think when you get to know yourself better, you'll, one, love yourself more, because everybody should love themselves, for who they are, which in turn will get you to love other people, because again, we're no different. We're just the same person from a different perspective, living life from a different vantage point. And I will say, for me, a lot of it has to do with that. Again, I grew up feeling overshadowed by my sisters, not in a negative way in any way, shape, or form, but that was just my own doubts and own insecurities. So I feel like also that was like my first real outlet, where I can be like, find passion without having to feel like, overshadowed by. I think anybody can go home and find something in their house that can connect with them. You'll just have to search for, if you don't know what that is, you'll just have to search for what that is. And it should be a fun journey.
Yeah, and even go for a walk or try a different activity. It's just something you got to find, like you said, like that's something that clicks inside of you, that you're like, that felt so good. And then that will build on each other, but you have to tap into something different, that you not don't do what you've always done. Try something different, because your creativity, your happiness, your joy, your peace is not in the same thing doing over and over again. It's going outside the box and figuring out something new that you can explore.
Well, so there's science to back that up, in the sense of your brain, your entire being is nothing but neural pathways in your brain connecting, forming connections and things like that. And addiction is just a stronger neural pathway than your conscious mind can break free from. Anything that you have in your brain, if I throw something at you and you catch it, that reaction to neural pathways connecting, that you're not instinctively seeing what you're doing. So where was I going with this? Because also my brain's in 1,000 different places right now. So what were we just saying a second ago?
We're talking about being able to come to a place where you connect to a different passion or different things.
Yeah.
trying new things.
So the thing is, if you try cooking and then try piano, you're trying two separate areas of your brain that used to not communicate with each other. So now new neural pathways form, because now you're playing piano, now you're playing that, and that will now make a triangle. So you've just expanded. So instead of a line going from one to another, when you make that connection, it expands. Well, that expansion isn't just applicable for the skills you've learned. You will find that that is your brain that has expanded. Now every area in your life that has expanded further. So the more new things you try, the more connections you're forming, the more you're literally growing your brain and creating new pathways and stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Connecting it all together, putting it together.
Yep.
That's really powerful. That's great advice. So, Ian, you're an amazing photographer. We're going to show some of your pictures, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you take incredible pictures of nature, and very talented. And how do you get inspired by photography? What inspires you to capture a moment? What do you see in that moment? How do you have that lens to be able to capture something uniquely so?
I mean, it's just a matter of, again, energy and seeing patterns in the world. So, some artists will see things in curves and waves. Others see it more in rigid, angled ways and stuff like that. So, I was very lucky, again, to have a job that paid for me to travel everywhere. But my camera and I have been to about 45 countries together. And, I will say it's just a matter of there's always this feeling I get inside of like a pebble dropping in water, where it creates a ripple in me, where it's like, whether it's a tune on the piano where I hear, I'm like, okay, that hit the spot. It's like the same thing when I'm out on the beach and I'm trying to capture something. It's just like, oh, there's something about the way that the pier going off in the distance with the waves here, it forms this kind of image, and it's just seeing that and wanting to take a slice of that and freeze it, So, but again, it's being very in tune with myself and nature and things like that. So.
And very connected.
Yes, always. I mean, we are creatures of connection. Our whole purpose for life is to connect and grow and communicate with each other. I mean, literally, I don't know how much you believe in simulation theory and consciousness and whatever you were here for, but literally your purpose is to grow and form new connections. I mean, that is literally what the whole, your brain is designed to do. So, that's why I think in life, you're always meant to just socialize and you're always meant to socialize and care and grow with people, because again, look at what happens when we met. Well, let's go back. Lynn introduced us through IPP. Now through IPP, we met. Now we're at the World Healing Tour together. We're doing this. We're forming these connections. Oh, wait, you and I meeting. Now I met Ben, who wants to play with me in music and things like that. And you'll see just
We're
one...
expanding ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And I always say, even before the World Healing Tour, when we were Conscious Co-op, I always say connection is the key to all we want in our lives. Mm-hmm. And together we are one, WON. Because I really believe that, and I believe through connections, we change our lives. Mm-hmm. And it seems like you really are, you love people like I do. You love people and you love those connections and you're open to them. You have to be open to connections, right? If you're sitting home by yourself and you're closed off and you're not open to meeting other people, you stay in your little bubble, you can't really expand the way you need to.
Yep, it's playing it safe and being comfortable is a security blanket when it's needed, but if you stay in that realm too long, then you'll realize that you're missing out on a lot of opportunities that could help you grow and succeed. And, thankfully for me, one of my biggest passions in life is a non-destructive form of entertainment called piano, where, hey, if I hit keys that go together that don't sound good, what's the worst that happens? Oh, I make a noise that doesn't sound pleasing, and then I move on. but there should never be that fear that gets in the way of you from trying something new, whether it's food, whether it's a new experience you want to try. This year alone, I've tried some new things like rock climbing. My wife got me into rock climbing gym in Fort Lauderdale, and it was first, I went one time to try it with her just to try it for fun. And then I was like, okay, I'll switch from going to the gym to this just as a workout to a thing where it became, I go 5-6 times a week, and I cannot function through the week if I don't go rock climbing.
I want to go with you.
You have to, yes.
Do you know what? I actually, Ian, this brings me back. I used to play the piano when I was young. I lived in Israel. I grew up in Israel, and I actually took some piano lessons, and I really connected, and I loved the piano. But when I moved to this country, we didn't have a lot of money. My parents couldn't afford to have a piano or to pay for piano lessons. So it was one of those instruments that I left behind, but I felt connected to. So that's why I said, like, I want to go back home and literally go on that keyboard and start just to play the one song that I know on the piano.
Yeah.
And you inspired me to do that today. And just to see how that, because I feel like we get comfortable. You know, we get comfortable. We let fear run the show. All of us, like, we all need reminders to expand ourselves.
It doesn't even need
because life is about expanding. It's not about.
It doesn't have to be fear, though. It could just be routine
Yeah,
that can get in the
routine.
way. Because think about
Right,
that. Monday
exactly.
to Friday, you get into the same routine, and the
Yes.
weekend and this, and the next thing you know, you blink, and then, oh, wait, we're at the end of 2024, and it feels like 2024 just started. So, yeah, routine can get in your way, fear can get in your way, and there is no time like right now to try something. So I'm very glad that you want to
Yeah,
go.
or you just say, like, oh, I'm too old for this now. Like, I'm too old to start taking piano lessons. Like, who says? Like, let's say I want to take piano lessons. I can get a piano teacher tomorrow and just learn to play again.
Well, you have a piano teacher here if you need one. I'm more than
That's
happy to
awesome.
teach you
I
anything
love that
about
so
that.
much.
But hey, I'll tell you, like, one of the things about why I love rock climbing so much is that when you go to the rock climbing gym, I mean, these are 60-foot walls that people climb. And yes, we are in Florida, so it is indoors. Nobody figured out how to rock climb on the landfills here. I see kids as young as 2-3 years old being pulled up on harnesses, and I have seen elderly couples climbing together that are 80 something years old maybe, that are climbing, and yet it doesn't matter the age. I see everybody doing it and loving it. So yeah, age is just a number. That's just a thing that you mentally tell yourself. You know, I've met people.
It's a limit.
It is a limit, yes. Yeah, but no, I feel like if there is anything you want to try, what's the worst that you do? Try it.
Exactly. So, Ian, since we're running out of time, and I love this conversation, I love talking to you. This has been so awesome, this conversation. How can people connect with you, find you? You could look right into the camera, or it's not there, oh, it's right there, and tell them how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, so basically, you can reach out to me on social media, online. Am I okay to give my information over?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so minnerlymedia.com. Or you can reach me 954-593-8023. I am here to talk to you about anything you want to talk about. It does not have to be just photography. So if you have a passion that you want to learn, but you don't know where to start, anything like that, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you with that. And I encourage every single one of you guys to try to find that passion that clicks with you the way that piano has clicked with me. Because the reward for it is just, well, I'm still finding the full capability of that reward right now, because every day feels like it's just, I get to go home to my wife and my piano, you know?
That's so beautiful. I love that so much. Well, thank you so much. It's such an honor. It's an honor to know you. It's an honor to
Likewise,
be in your
Noah.
presence. And it's an honor to work with you, because I wouldn't hire anybody else to work with than Ian. He's really incredible. And he brings this positive energy to everything you do. So, you
Thank you,
bring
Noah.
the energy too. So I want to be surrounded by that light, positive energy.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you
who
for having me
are.
here.
I want to thank you today for joining us on the World Healing Tour podcast. It's been such a great conversation. Until next time, remember to practice your 3G. Have a grateful heart, ground in love and compassion, and know every day that you're not alone. You're guided by God. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Namaste.
Take care. Absolutely.
All right, awesome. He's
Hope
gonna
I
take a
was
couple.
good. I've
You
never